Welcome to part 3 of my Anakin Skywalker Character Analysis. If you haven't seen part 1 or 2 yet, then I highly encourage you to do so. I'll throw up the title card and place a link in the description to it. In today's video, I'll continue my case for Anakin as the greatest Star Wars character, looking at his role in episode 3. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Become my apprentice. Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
I will do whatever you ask.
Good.
Just help me save Padme's life. I can't live without her.
Palpatine is in full control of Anakin now, as he's clearly willing to throw the life he once had away, just to save his wife. Anakin sounds like a defeated man. The conflict within himself has been continuously weighing him down, this being fear personified, as his fears have driven him to the point of what seems like no return. He submits himself entirely to it, all in the hopes that it will give him what he wants. He mistakes evil for the good that he seeks. He truly believes that he has no choice, that he's too far gone, and that the only thing he can do is try to save Padme, because he's allowed his focus to determine his reality in all the wrong ways.
To cheat death is a power only one has achieved. I know we can discover the secret.
And it's with that line, Anakin will blindly follow him, on the false hope of learning the power to save others from dying. So Anakin would do anything to help Palpatine, believing he would be helped in return.
I pledge myself to your teachings.
Even though it looks like it hurts him to do this, he does it anyway, and Palpatine, like the dark side itself, will force him to be a slave to his emotions, and Anakin would be chained again as he was in his youth.
The Force is strong with you. A powerful Sith you will become. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
Thank you, my master.
Officially, Palpatine has corrupted the man that was once Anakin, and has transformed him into Darth Vader.
Rise.
With Anakin now dead in Palpatine's eyes, it's fitting that he requests his new evil creation to rise from the ashes and to be born anew. It's from here on that this persona of Vader would begin its quest to overthrow the good man in Anakin. In reality, they're all one and the same, but it allows us as the audience to distinguish between the good and evil in man itself, as it personifies and brings to life the concepts of the good and evil in all of us.
Because the Council did not trust you, my young apprentice, I believe you are the only Jedi with no knowledge of this plot.
And so, Palpatine continues to play the game, feeding into Anakin's paranoia, and further strengthening Anakin's loyalty to him by making the Jedi the villains of this story.
When the Jedi learn what has transpired here, they will kill us, along with all the senators.
I agree. The Council's next move will be against the Senate.
The genius in making Anakin think this way is that it not only separates him from the Jedi, but it brings him closer to Palpatine, making him more loyal as it becomes an us versus them mentality for their own survival. Essentially, we have to stick together if we want to live. And Anakin has fully bought into this lie, trusting in the person that he believes Palpatine to be, convincing himself that not only Mace, but all the other Jedi would be capable of such a sinister and cunning plot to take over the galaxy, maintain power, and rule over everyone. And he also really believes that's the case because he believes that's what he wants, which was hinted at in Attack of the Clones and solidified in his conversation with Padme on Mustafar, valuing the idea of gaining more power to make the galaxy the way he wants it to be.
Every single Jedi, including your friend Obi-Wan Kenobi, is now an enemy of the Republic.
I understand, Master.
Palpatine demonizes the Jedi as a whole and singles out Obi-Wan, understanding the brotherly bond they share, and trying to break it as soon as possible, as Obi-Wan reaching out to his apprentice could be the determining factor to whether Anakin stays on the path of the dark side or not.
We must move quickly. The Jedi are relentless. If they are not all destroyed, it will be civil war without end.
Even placing a time constraint forces Anakin to not think his actions through, basically saying that we need to kill them now while they're not suspecting it. If not, we'll be in danger. This also falls in line with Anakin's established line of thinking, as he would prefer to take action before just waiting, shooting first and asking questions later. Even the idea of another war as a consequence is also something that he wants to avoid, having just fought in one for the past 3 years. So for Anakin, he wants peace above all, no matter the cost, even if it must be done by force, as he's claimed before that the system doesn't work. So now that he has the authority and has someone to back him up and encourage him, he's more than willing to do so to establish order.
First, I want you to go to the Jedi Temple. We will catch them off balance. Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
Unlike the Jedi, the Sith play by their own rules, and they live and die by them, as their strength gives them purpose. So it's the first time Anakin will be sent on a mission without fear of being told what to do. The Jedi were always breathing down his neck and micromanaging his every move, and now, for the first time, there are no rules. However, he may not realize it yet, but this means the consequences for his actions are just as limitless, leading to things he may regret for an eternity.
Only then will you be strong enough with the dark side to save Padme.
Palpatine never forgets to bring things full circle. He asks Anakin to do his bidding and wipe out the Jedi as a part of his plot, but quickly gives Anakin a personal reason to invest in his actions, rather than just telling him to do it, or else. True manipulation comes from making the other person believe it's their choice, and that they're doing it for their own benefit. Anakin will become so consumed by the dark side he will forget why he did those things in the first place. This gives Anakin the green light to just throw himself down the dark path without a second thought, pushing his conscience to the side and simply listening to the devil on his shoulders, as he would mistake his actions as a means for love. But in reality, this is far from it, as he would betray and murder those that he grew up with in the temple, simply becoming an agent of chaos. As another great villain once said,
"See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push."
Go to the Mustafar system. Wipe out Viceroy Gunray and the other separatist leaders.
Palpatine understands that timing is everything, and he must rid himself of his biggest threat and power in the Jedi first. But he must also cut all loose ends in the separatists, as they'll just be dead weight if he strings them along. Once again, everyone is a pawn in his game, and he will send out his newest asset to eliminate them. Anakin is all for this too, as it would ensure the end of the separatists, and he could enact on those that have threatened his and Padme's life on various occasions, where she wanted them dealt with through their justice in the legal system. Anakin is willing to take matters to his own hands. It also helps too that as the leaders of the separatists, they're the symbols of the faction that Anakin somewhat blindly hated for years. So to eliminate them, he believes it would give him satisfaction, happiness, and peace.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy, and we shall have peace.
And so begins the Great Jedi Purge, with Order 66 being executed. Vader leads the siege on the Jedi Temple, and the clones are now being used for their true purpose, to overwhelm and eliminate the Jedi once and for all, with Anakin being no different to the clones, just a soldier in Palpatine's plan, simply following orders. Anakin then marches on the Jedi Temple, a place that he's called home for the majority of his life. While it was where he lived, he never truly felt welcome, and now he returns to deliver the pain, suffering, and death that he's been fearing the majority of his life. Anakin's betrayal leads to the dark deeds that he's capable of, as he would march in with his clone brethren in the 501st. But this time, they would truly be Vader's fist. In Vader's eyes, it would be the fist of justice, but this is really far from it, as it's more of a bloody act of genocide. As this first mission would show what not only the clones, but Anakin could do, as they would slaughter those they all once fought alongside. Here, Anakin can take down the establishment that has oppressed him all his life, In his mind, he's taking revenge on the Order that had once chained him, similar to his days on Tatooine, not realizing that he's truly a prisoner to his emotions, to Palpatine, and to the power of the dark side. As we see the other Jedi being executed by Order 66, we see the impact that one man's actions have had, as he's managed to break the entire Jedi Order from the inside. Others must suffer the consequences because of it, even if he's not the one pulling the trigger. A man that they all believed in and gave them hope in the Chosen One has now turned their back on them and betrayed them. For those that believed in the prophecy, and more importantly, believed in Anakin as a person, they're now just as lost, conflicted, or suffering just as much as he is because of it. A man that was once known as a hero without fear would be seen as a villain controlled by fear, becoming a symbol of despair rather than hope, similar to a Shakespearean tragedy. The Revenge of the Sith novelization encompasses this moment, the entire theme of Episode 3, Best Here. The story happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's already over. Nothing can be done to change it. It's a story of love and loss, brotherhood and betrayal, courage and sacrifice, and the death of dreams. It's a story of the blurred lines between our best and our worst. It's the story of the end of an age. A strange thing about stories, though this all happened so long ago and so far away that words cannot describe the time or the distance, it's also happening right now. Right here. It's happening as you read these words. This is how 25 millennia come to a close. Corruption and treachery have crushed 1,000 years of peace. This is not just the end of a republic. Night is falling on civilization itself. This is the twilight of the Jedi. The end starts now.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Another example of how far Anakin is willing to go, taking Palpatine's words to heart and embracing evil itself, where when he was once a child, like the younglings, who virtuously wanted to help others, that dreamed of becoming a Jedi to save slaves like himself and be a worthy hero, he now stands on the other side, a man who has fallen and lost his way, becoming the very thing he swore to destroy. It really drives home the idea that Anakin has truly fallen from grace, where he was once optimistic and idealistic, now he's blinded by pessimism and cynicism, acting out of fear, anger, and hatred.
I heard there was an attack on the Jedi Temple. You can see the smoke from here.
I'm fine. I came to see if you and the baby are safe. The Jedi have tried to overthrow the Republic.
I can't believe that.
I saw Master Windu attempt to assassinate the Chancellor myself.
Of course, Anakin conveniently left out the fact that he led the attack on the temple himself, also failing to mention the big promotion he got earlier that night to Sith Lord. Around Padme, we get a glimpse of his softer side, the side that still has good in him, the side that is Anakin. As long as Padme and the baby are okay, Anakin will still have one last thing to fight for. Anakin also shows here how he doesn't necessarily lie to her, from a certain point of view, but he spins the truth to avoid discussing his actions and create a narrative that demonizes the Jedi, and how he separated himself from them because of it. Essentially, if he can convince her that the Jedi are in the wrong, maybe he can justify his actions at a later time, and maybe he can one day convince himself that what he's doing is right. A sign that he knows that what he's doing is wrong, but he follows through with his choices anyways, no matter how much it hurts him or others that stand in his way.
What are you gonna do?
I will not betray the Republic. My loyalties lie with the Chancellor, and with the Senate, and with you.
Anakin is so brainwashed as even the order in which he lists off his loyalties prioritize Palpatine over the love of his life. It's a nice touch that when he enters this, not only can he not look her in the eye, but he faces away entirely from her, directly towards the darkness, fully embracing the side that is Vader in his actions. He even says things in a robotic way that show how even before the events of Mustafar, that he became more machine than man, lacking the compassion that was once his greatest strength, but now serves as his greatest detriment.
What about Obi-Wan?
I don't know. Many Jedi have been killed. We can only hope that he's remained loyal to the Chancellor.
Again, Anakin believes in people. He's prioritized Palpatine above everyone, and now he's basing his opinion and their fate on their allegiance to a man that wants to rule the galaxy with an iron fist. His lack of empathy is severely juxtaposed with Padme's concern for his brother's well-being, this being a great dissent from a man that once looked at him as the closest thing he had to a father.
Anakin, I'm afraid.
Have faith, my love. Everything will soon be set right.
Not only is this situation and the state of the Jedi and the Republic a scary thing, and something that Padme's mostly referring to, but there's probably a bit of her that's referring to seeing the man that she loves change in front of her. He's still acting very caring around her, but as most significant others can that truly love each other, they can sense when something's wrong, or that there's something he's not telling her. Also, this would be the perfect time to simply spend time with Padme and end the fighting. But Anakin is so consumed with this idea of taking this path to save her that he fails to realize that he's propelling himself to a self-fulfilling prophecy.
The Chancellor has given me a very important mission. The Separatists have gathered on the Mustafar system. I'm going there to end this war. Wait for me until I return. Things will be different, I promise. Please, wait for me.
Again, Anakin really has a way of spinning the truth. He's honest with Padme, but not completely transparent with her, failing to mention that he's going to execute these political leaders, that there will be no attempt to negotiate or have them sign a peace treaty, a way that many, including Padme, would assume that he's talking about, and the hope would be what he's talking about. Same goes for mentioning that things will be different, and the formation of an empire will definitely do the trick. This scene also shows the duality of Anakin and Vader, that is almost like a superhero with a secret identity, as they lie to their loved ones to protect them. But in this case, his alter ego is Vader, and like most superhero aliases, it's definitely part of him, if not closer to his true self. Anakin has lived most of his life living with this duality, being used to hiding secrets, only this time from his wife. And the dark side that is Vader has always been there, only now has it been pushed to the forefront as it has begun to consume his everyday actions.
Well, he is under a lot of stress, I know.
That's a generous way of putting it. Anakin then embarks on his mission to officially end the Clone Wars and arrives at the fiery red planet of Mustafar. Mustafar as well is a perfect symbol of the conflict in Anakin's heart, as the volcanic planet is representative of hell itself, and what it would feel and look like, emphasizing that one is ready to erupt when they have given themselves to the dark side. It allows us to see, in the form of imagery, the fiery and volatile nature of Anakin, as fire as an element is typically known to harm, that it's seen as a form of intense, expressed passion, which Anakin definitely has. This would be seen visually as he carries out his mission, losing himself in the darkness with extreme emotion and conflicted feelings, expressed through his juxtaposing crying eyes and Sith red and yellow eyes as well. And those evil eyes would show how Anakin has embraced the dark side, blinding him and consuming his very being, as the eyes are the windows to the soul, emphasizing that Anakin's soul can't be found in this moment. Only Vader, using Anakin's body as a vessel to commit further atrocities.
R2, stay with the ship.
Anakin again doesn't let certain people see this side of Vader, ultimately being a sign that he understands what he's doing is wrong.
Welcome, Lord Vader. We've been expecting you.
Vader locks the doors and traps the Separatists in with him, and creates an execution playground for himself as they're caged in for slaughter. Anakin can now unleash his rage on a man in Nute Gunray and other leaders alike that he's had thoughts of killing like this before, as they're the source of much pain in his own life with not only the war, but the trouble that they've caused prior, time and time again targeting Padme and attempting to assassinate her. Now he can exact his revenge on them with no one to tug on his leash, as the Jedi can no longer tell him what to do. And what Padme doesn't know won't hurt her, but it's what he knows about what he's done and what he's doing that will and is hurting him.
Not even the younglings survived.
Killed not by clones. This Padawan, by a lightsaber he was.
Who could have done this?
The betrayal is then furthered, as they were not only killed by their allies in the clones, but one of their own, as a lightsaber means another Force user was leading the charge. What's painful here is that as the audience, we already know that Anakin committed these atrocities, but because Obi-Wan is not informed yet, we see his raw reaction, as he never assumes who it could be, because while others doubted Anakin, he truly always believed in him, and would never think that someone who might as well have been his own blood would do something so evil. This scene, mirrored with Anakin committing more murders, makes it all the more tragic, as Obi-Wan still clings on to hope, and Anakin has delved into despair, as we see the pain and agony on his face as he completes his mission. While this is happening, in parallel, the Republic and liberty that Anakin once fought so hard to protect is being destroyed by a simple,
with thunderous applause,
emphasizing that evil can take many shapes and forms, with Palpatine being the puppet master and Anakin being the executioner of brutality.
The war is over! Lord Sidious promised us peace! We only want...
A reminder of what can happen when you sacrifice freedom for peace, as you no longer have control over your destiny, something Gunray and the Separatists learned far too late. By Anakin doing this, it really shows his warped perception of peace, as when a defenseless Newt Gunray pleads with him for said peace, he rewards him with death, very far from the guardian of peace and justice mentality he once stood by. Also, seeing Vader eliminate the Separatists in parallel with Palpatine's promotion to Emperor is symbolic of how the duo complements each other, with one being the brain, the other the brawn, as the two attributes are utilized to assert control over the galaxy. Essentially, you either give away your rights and power to your ruler, or the Shadow Invader will enforce the Empire's rule by fear tactics, Vader truly being the Empire's fist. The irony in his claim to the throne is not that Palpatine simply took it, but he was given it by the people, in individuals like Anakin, as power resides where men believe it resides, and Anakin blindly believed in him more than anyone. So it didn't matter that Palpatine is stronger than everyone in that room combined. It mattered that they believed in him and gave him a power that couldn't be learned or bought, only earned through trust, representative of how democracy can only die if we let it. The shot of Anakin staring out into the sun of Mustafar as an eclipse is happening is a representation of Anakin's inner conflict. We see all the dead bodies of the Separatist leaders as they have all been slaughtered as a means to not only end the war, but send a message to others that treason will not be tolerated. But for Anakin, even when he delivered this false sense of justice, he's still a broken man, as tears roll down his eyes. The sheer violence that he's caused, unleashing his rage, still leaves him alone and afraid. Even with all the power that the dark side has to offer him, he still feels helpless, no closer to saving Padme than before. The eclipse too is a nice touch as it represents Anakin's story. As the chosen one, he was meant to be a bright light and beacon of hope for the galaxy, someone that would inspire others. But now that he's embraced Vader, the darkness has suppressed the light that once shone on others. A true tragedy as he's fallen from grace, becoming a monster in the eyes of many.
The Separatists have been taking care of my master.
It is finished, then. You have restored peace and justice to the galaxy.
Palpatine can finally begin to claim victory, as the remnants of the Clone Wars have been disposed of. Everything is going as he's foreseen, all with the help of Vader. He also assures Vader that his actions are virtuous and for the benefits of the galaxy, making him believe that they're fighting for the greater good and establishing peace, when in reality, they're establishing a tyranny to reign over the oppressed, to rule and control them. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video. And if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when part 4 comes out, then hit the bell for notifications. Or consider checking out my Patreon, where I'll be uploading videos there significantly sooner than on YouTube. So part 4 should be available there as I speak. And the same will apply to the next parts when they come out. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. And finally, let me know in the comments which Star Wars character has gone through the greatest fall from grace and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, I will bring peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.